新型军兵种结构布局完善。
China just told the world whose side it is on. On Thursday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning was asked directly whether Beijing would join Russia in supporting Iran if the United States attacks. She did not say yes, but her answer left little room for doubt. China supports the Iranian government and people in upholding their nation's stability and legitimate rights and interests, Mao said. We firmly oppose the use or threat of force in international relations. The statement landed the same day Iranian and American delegations sat down in Geneva for the third round of nuclear talks. And the same week, a Chinese satellite firm described by some analysts as military-linked released imagery that appears to show US stealth fighters positioned at an Israeli base. The question came from Iran's state broadcaster IREB, and Mao's answer followed Beijing's standard diplomatic formula. China advocates resolving issues through political and diplomatic channels, she said. The people of China and Iran enjoy a traditional friendship. China stands ready to continue playing its role as a responsible major country, diplomatic language, but the timing turned it into something louder. This is not the first time. On January 13th, when protests were sweeping Iran and Trump threatened 25% tariffs on any country doing business with Tehran, Mao Ning used nearly identical language. China hopes Iran will maintain stability and supports Iran in doing so, she said. What changed this week is the context. US and allied reporting describe this as one of the biggest American buildups in the region in decades. 2 aircraft carriers, thousands of troops, F-35s, F-22s, guided missile destroyers. And China responded publicly, backing Iran's stability and rights as Washington signals it is weighing military options. Then came the satellite images. Miservision, a Chinese company with reported ties to military-linked firms, published imagery that appears to show 11 US F-22s at Israel's Ovda air base in the southern Negev. The images also showed what analysts identified as a Patriot air defense battery positioned near the base. Israeli outlets reported the deployment, pointing to the satellite imagery and open-source tracking. The F-22 is the most advanced air superiority fighter in the American arsenal. Analysts say sending F-22s to an Israeli base outside of routine exercises is highly unusual. According to open-source flight tracking analysts, 12 F-22s departed from Royal Air Force Lakenheath in England on Tuesday and headed toward Israel. 11 landed at Ovda. 1 returned to the UK due to a technical issue. Another 12 F-22s arrived at RAF Lakenheath on Wednesday. Open-source trackers say more jets could follow, but no official schedule has been confirmed. If they do, the total number of American stealth fighters stationed in the region could reach 24. Mizarvision also released imagery from beyond Israel. The firm published satellite images of American tanker aircraft arriving at a base in Saudi Arabia, force buildups on Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, 22 U.S. aircraft at Prince Sultan Air Base, including 16 KC-135 tankers, and dozens of aircraft alongside a Patriot battery at Al Udeid in Qatar, according to the firm's imagery. A separate image showed a THAAD air defense system deployed at Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan. Analysts say the releases show how much can be inferred from commercial imagery and open sources, sometimes fast enough to matter. And the satellite images are not the only signal Beijing is sending. Reuters reported this week, citing 6 people with knowledge of the negotiations, that Iran is close to finalizing a deal with China to purchase CM-302 supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles. The missiles have a range of roughly 290 kilometers and are designed to fly low and fast to evade shipborne defenses. 2 weapons experts told Reuters the deployment would significantly enhance Iran's ability to threaten naval vessels in the region. The deal is near completion, though no delivery date has been agreed. According to Reuters, the negotiations have been underway for at least 2 years, but accelerated sharply after the 12-day war between Israel and Iran in June 2025. Senior Iranian military officials, including Deputy Defense Minister Masoud Oraei, traveled to China to finalize discussions, a visit that had not previously been reported. If completed, the transfer would rank among the most advanced military systems China has provided to Iran. It would also test UN sanctions first imposed in 2006 over Iran's nuclear program. China's foreign ministry told Reuters it was not aware of the reported missile negotiations. China's defense ministry did not respond. The White House did not publicly confirm the reported negotiations. But an Iranian foreign ministry official told Reuters that Iran has military and security agreements with its allies, and now is an appropriate time to make use of them. A former Israeli intelligence officer called the potential deal a complete game changer. "These missiles are very difficult to intercept," he said. "The CM-302 may not be the only system on the table." Reuters reported the talks could expand to other systems, including air defense and even anti-satellite capabilities. If Beijing delivers that range of capability to Tehran, it would fundamentally reshape the military balance in the Persian Gulf region. And it would do so just as Washington positions itself for a possible strike. There is a reason Beijing's calculations are shifting. After the U.S. operation that captured Maduro, Washington moved to control Venezuela's exports, reshaping who can buy and on what terms. Some U.S. assessments have put Venezuela's share of China's seaborne imports in the low single digits. Separate reporting has estimated Iranian oil as a meaningful share of China's seaborne imports, cited around the low teens. For Beijing, analysts say, keeping Iran stable is no longer just geopolitics. It is energy security. The economic ties run deep. According to World Trade Organization data, Iran imported roughly $18 billion worth of goods from China in 2024 and exported about $14.5 billion in return. More than a quarter of Iran's total trade was conducted with China. Reuters reported separately that Iranian oil accounted for 13.4% of China's seaborne oil imports last year. For Beijing, Iran is not just an ally, it is an energy supplier. In 2021, China and Iran signed a 25-year strategic cooperation agreement widely reported as promising up to $400 billion in Chinese investment. Though analysts have noted the figure is aspirational and implementation has been slow. Chinese firms have been linked to energy projects tied to Iran's oil sector, though details are often opaque under sanctions. Iran is now a key node in Xi Jinping's Belt and Road Initiative, connecting Central Asia to the Persian Gulf. And in 2023, China brokered the diplomatic normalization between Iran and Saudi Arabia, positioning itself as a power broker in a region where Washington's influence is no longer unchallenged. The relationship extends beyond trade. In September, Chinese President Xi Jinping hosted Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian at a military parade in Beijing, where Xi said China supports Iran in safeguarding its sovereignty and territorial integrity. In October, China joined Russia and Iran in a letter criticizing the reimposition of sanctions on Tehran. China, Iran, and Russia conduct annual joint naval exercises. One analyst briefed on the missile negotiations told Reuters that Iran has become a battlefield between the US on one side and Russia and China on the other. Washington has tried to put a price on that relationship. In January, Trump said any country doing business with Iran would pay a tariff of 25% on business with the United States. Mao Ning's response was clear. "Tariff wars have no winners," she said. "China will firmly protect its legitimate and lawful rights and interests." Beijing didn't back away from its message, and a Chinese firm amplified the moment by releasing satellite imagery of US deployments. Republican Senator Ted Cruz went further. In late February, he claimed the governments in Venezuela, Cuba, and Iran could all be replaced with regimes friendly to the United States within 6 months. When asked about those remarks, Mao Ning said China stands against interference in countries' internal affairs under any pretext and any violation of the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. 3 countries, 3 continents, 3 allies of Beijing. And Washington is talking about toppling all of them in the same sentence. The military context makes the diplomatic language heavier. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is operating in the Arabian Sea. The USS Gerald Ford is in the Eastern Mediterranean. Together, the 2 carriers carry more than 5,000 personnel and roughly 150 aircraft. Trump said on February 19th he was giving Iran 10 days to reach a nuclear agreement or face military action. Witkoff said publicly that Iran is roughly a week away from having bomb-making material. The Pentagon has said the buildup is designed to deter Iranian aggression, but that forces are prepared for combat if diplomacy fails. Tehran announced that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched large-scale ground and naval drills along Iran's southern coast as the Geneva talks approached. Tehran has said it would respond decisively to any military adventurism, pointing to its ballistic missile barrage against Al-Udeid, Washington's most important regional airbase in Qatar, during the June 2025 war. Araghchi, Iran's foreign minister, told a U.S. network that a diplomatic solution is within reach, while warning that the military buildup was unnecessary and unhelpful. And there is one more piece that changes the map. The United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia have both said they will not allow their airspace, territory, or territorial waters to be used for strikes against Iran. That constraint is one reason analysts point to for why Israel matters more in the current U.S. posture. It is also why China's relationship with the Gulf states matters. Beijing brokered the Iran-Saudi deal. Beijing buys oil from both sides, and neither Riyadh nor Abu Dhabi wants to be caught between Washington and Tehran again. Mao Ning did not say China would fight alongside Iran. She did not promise military intervention. What she did was declare support for Iran's government in public on the same day American and Iranian negotiators sat across from each other in Geneva, while a Chinese firm published the coordinates of American stealth fighters, and Reuters reported that Beijing is close to arming Tehran with missiles marketed as capable of threatening major naval vessels, including carriers. China did not say yes, but it did not say no. And in diplomacy, what a country does while choosing its words carefully is usually louder than the words themselves. Subscribe to WLA for daily geopolitical analysis.